goodness. The Philadelphia Eagles brought absolute fire to the field, with their performance against the Green Bay Packers being nothing short of mind-blowing. Coming off the bye week, they seemed recharged and right out of the gate. Boy, did they mean business. Let's start with their sensational defense. 3 sacks, folks, 3. They were all over the Packers like a rash, forcing turnovers and completely disrupting their rhythm. Nakobe, Jalyx, Hunt, these guys were everywhere, making those smashing tackles, and those sack plays were critical. Just incredible stuff. And don't even get me started on their offense. Jalen Hurts' leadership was, without a doubt, the glue that held it all together. His game-winning 36-yard rocket to DeVonta Smith, jaw-dropping. Saquon Barkley kept the offense ticking too, extending drives with his powerful rushing and receiving plays. They converted 7 out of 16 third downs under pressure. It's got everyone thinking, are they serious playoff contenders now that they're 7-2 in the NFC? Guys, this team is on the rise. Is Philly a team to watch? Absolutely. If you're loving these deep dives, make sure to hit that subscribe button and be part of our analysis squad. And let's shift focus now to the Green Bay Packers, who, let's be honest, have some significant thinking to do. So, here's the thing. Despite showcasing moments of defensive brilliance that managed to keep the Eagles on their toes, their offensive struggles were glaring. Seriously, how do you leave so many chances on the table? It's confusing. Okay, look, you have to commend the Packers for not conceding a single point in the first half. But come on, you've got to convert those defensive stops into points. The missed 64-yard field goal, it's a heartbreaker. It could have changed the game, and then there's the turnover. Man, when you're that close in such a tight contest, those mistakes are just like crushing. Jordan Love, he showed flashes, moments where you thought, wow, he's got potential. But the inconsistency, I guess it felt like the Eagles' defense had just figured him out. And penalties, seriously, they're like killing the Packers' rhythm. Whenever you think they're gaining momentum, bam, another flag. Josh Jacobs was the bright spot, sure, punching through for their only TD, but without cohesion and support in passing plays, the offense looks stuck, right? So, Packers, where do they go from here? They've got to find a way to sink their solid defense and sluggish offense to really jump back into relevancy. You know, transitioning from Green Bay's struggles, let's dive into the brilliant connection between Jalen Hurts and DeVonta Smith, which was a game changer against the Packers. Hurts, man. He was on another level, literally controlling the game like a maestro with his poise and precision. Talk about threading the needle. Hurts went 15 for 26 with 183 yards, and it feels like that pass to Smith for the 36-yard touchdown was the stuff of legend. You could see Hurts adjusting on the fly, breaking down the defense step by step, and finding those critical moments to strike. And what about DeVonta Smith? His run for that touchdown was absolutely sensational. The guy knows how to make plays every single time. He racked up 69 yards over just 4 receptions, proving once again he's the guy you want when the pressure's on. The chemistry between Hurts and Smith is kind of like becoming an unspoken language on the field. They read each other's cues perfectly and exploit those tiny gaps like they've been playing catch since forever. By figuring out the Packers' pass strengths against passing teams, Hurts and Smith exploited those weaknesses, setting the stage for crucial yardage. The strategic dance between them throughout the game highlighted just how lethal they can be. As the Eagles march toward more challenging fixtures, it's pivotal that this quarterback-receiver duo keeps thriving. Their synergy might just be a significant factor in turning Philly's postseason dreams into reality. Now, shifting gears a little, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and one of their few shining lights in an otherwise difficult game. I'm, of course, referring to Josh Jacobs. Even when the Packers were struggling to string together their passing attempts, Jacobs was out there grinding away. You couldn't overlook his sheer determination, right? He's facing a tough-as-nails Eagles defense, yet he's still punching through for 33 yards on 21 carries. Those numbers might not leap off the page, but the effort it took? Massive. It's not just about the yardage, it's about the resilience in his runs, fighting for every yard. And then, boom. Just like that, Jacobs gives us a moment of brilliance, squeezes through for a 6-yard touchdown, their only one in this tense battle. How crucial was that? You could see his ability to maneuver through tight spaces and slip tackles like it's second nature. It was commendable, to say the least. And considering the pressure on him, with the Packers' passing options diluted by injuries, Jacobs stood tall as their go-to guy. His role was Herculean, if you will, controlling the tempo like a general despite limited resources. This performance, it tells us loads about his potential and leadership qualities. The Packers could really benefit from building their offensive strategies around him. He's proven he can carry the team through rough patches, setting the groundwork for a hopeful shift in their future offensive game plans. Eagles defensive masterclass. So we took a closer look at Josh Jacobs' valiant effort against formidable opponents, but now let's shift gears. Let's dive into how the Eagles put on an absolute defensive masterclass. You know what I mean? It was like they had only one mission: to shut everything the Packers tried down, and they did it brilliantly, basically limiting Green Bay to just 7 points. Now, here's the thing. Much of this game came down to the relentless pressure the Eagles exerted on Jordan Love. Offensively, they might have faced challenges, but defensively, oh my goodness, they were a force. We're talking about constant pocket collapses. Love barely had room to breathe, let alone throw accurately. And then there was Nakobe Dean. He was everywhere. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. This guy wasn't just playing, he was orchestrating chaos. And speaking of pivotal plays, how about Reed Blankenship forcing that fumble? Those defensive plays weren't just moments, they were pieces of a strategic shut-the-door-on-you masterpiece. So as the Eagles kept laying that pressure, the Packers couldn't build any offensive momentum. And this is crucial. Their third down defense was so key, snapping every attempt by Green Bay to extend drives. All of this stacked together speaks to a systemic focus the Eagles have prioritized this season, a focus on defense setting the tone and the pace of the game. They've built a formidable defensive unit that just might pave their way to some serious postseason glory. So, shifting gears from the Eagles' defensive prowess, we need to talk about something that's been a thorn in the Packers' side all season, their injury woes. And I'm telling you, it was glaringly obvious against Philadelphia. The absence of key players like Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft was undeniably a massive blow to Green Bay's offense. I mean, Jordan Love tried his best out there, but without his top targets, it feels like he was just throwing into a void. His completion rate was 20 for 36, which, let's be fair, is sort of respectable under the circumstances, yet they only scraped together a measly 157 passing yards. That's just not going to cut it. Love's reliance on the young guys like Dontavion Wicks, Christian Watson and Bo Melton meant the passing game never really found its rhythm. These guys managed to notch up 38, 45 and 20 yards respectively, but it was like they were asking them to fill shoes 2 sizes too big. And then, with the passing game stalling, the pressure just skyrocketed on Josh Jacobs. He was carrying the offense, literally. But even with 104 rushing yards, the game plan was ridiculously one-dimensional. The Eagles picked up on this pattern pretty quick, and their defense just ate it up, holding the Packers to 5 and 13 on third downs. Injuries, man, they're just ruthless sometimes. And for Green Bay, this season, they're not just dealing with them, they're practically drowning in them. Now, speaking of strategies, let's talk about the tactical play-calling battle between the Eagles and Packers. This matchup was intriguing, right? The contrasting game plans really set the stage for some intense back and forths at Lambeau Field. Starting with Philly, they weren't about taking wild risks. Instead, they played it smart, kind of feeling things out, relying heavily on their defense to do the talking. What they did brilliantly was leveraging their disciplined approach to make Green Bay's job that much tougher, especially when it came to handling turnovers. You've got to give a nod to how they mixed things with the sure-handed plays from DeVonta Smith and the calculated, methodical passes by Jalen Hurts. It was all about well-timed drives that chiseled away at Green Bay without going for the jugular too early. It totally made sense given how they were managing previous third down conversations, but more on that later. On the other side, the Packers, they tried to use the whole home crowd vibe to ratchet up the pressure on Hurts. But with their attack limited due to injuries, well, it was challenging. The Packers seemed to double down on defense early, but shifted gears slowly when it became clear that Philly wasn't biting. So it became quite the chess match, with both teams playing it safe and looking for cracks to exploit. Ultimately, even if the score was tight, the play-calling tug-of-war defined how this matchup ended up being more about who could minimize mistakes and capitalize just at the right time. The whole game was a tactical showdown that had this strategic nuance simmering throughout. What a fascinating encounter. Okay, so after dissecting the strategic tit-for-tat between the Eagles and Packers, let's zoom in on what this means for the Eagles' path forward in the NFC, and it's looking pretty darn good, folks. With that hard-fought win, they're sitting pretty at 7-2, a record that screams contender. Now, here's the thing. Their success isn't just about luck or happenstance. It's about strategic brilliance, resilience, and players stepping up when it matters. Post-bye week, this victory was more than just a win. It was a statement, a morale booster, a momentum charger, if you will, as they head into the season's rough and tumble. Jalen Hurts and DeVonta Smith, they're turning into a lethal duo, and that 36-yard touchdown pass from Hurts to Smith. Insane. It showcased their knack for exploiting defensive gaps and capitalizing on clutch moments. But remember, challenges are looming. Their upcoming schedule is no walk in the park, and how they manage injuries like keeping Lane Johnson fit will be crucial in maintaining their edge. It's about sustaining defense prowess while maybe cranking up their offensive aggressiveness just a notch. So now they're gearing up for the playoffs, building on this strategic resilience. They're like a well-oiled machine, right? Now, I've got a question. Are they the real deal for a deep playoff run? I need your thoughts. Let's hear it in the comments. Are the Eagles your pick for the NFC glory? Drop a comment and let's dive into it.